the IMF have said that the economic recovery is always going to be dragged back until such time as there's mass consumer insolvency process finished, you know, and the insolvency law is coming in, but it won't be effective unless the central bank force the banks through their code of conduct to fully and fairly engage. Do you see that happening?
I do, and actually I set up a specific cabinet subcommittee dealing with mortgage distress and the bank situation. We had the banks in at what we call the Economic Management Council, which I chair myself. Now, in fairness, if the banks follow through on the proposals that they have put forward to us, they're both constructive and very positive. Things arise like the fact that there's been a lack of competency in dealing with the extensive range of mortgage distress that there's out there. And these things have all to be dealt with and have all to be solved. The pillar banks have signed on for $3.5 billion of new lending this year. When we find a lot of small businesses coming into banks haven't actually been able to produce their cash flow projections, which make it difficult to allow lending in normal circumstances. Now, as well as that, the banks are due to report to Matthew Elderfield, I think it's by the 4th of May, on where they see the sectors in the mortgage distress area actually falling and how they expect to be able to deal with that.
So the tough line is going to be taken?
Yes, a very tough line. Not only that, Eddie, but also from the European point of view. There are now serious discussions going on about common European regulations that will allow for banks to have a code of conduct that's going to be implemented and be seen to be implemented, and not have a situation like arose in the past.
There's a gathering momentum now in Europe. Monty was talking about it today, that there needs to be a growth pact to follow the fiscal compact pact, and that he is saying that austerity just leads to deflation. You can't grow with austerity.
Absolutely.
So do you see that change gathering speed?
I do, and may I say this? Since I joined the European Council after the government was formed last March, one of the central themes of our discussions was that you should have an agenda where growth and investment and jobs are central to what Europe should be about. Europe's failed to deliver on the single market, failed to deliver on the single patent, failed to deliver on the digital market, and actually failed to live up to its potential in terms of the single market. Now, they're issues that European leaders are now focusing on, and not have what we had in the past, interminable talk about default, catastrophe, the breakup of the euro, the breakup of the eurozone. All of that's now changed, and even today, with the Troika's assessment of Ireland having come through the latest analysis with 100% markup, but also their own language now changing to investment and agendas for growth and opportunity.
One final question, Taoiseach. There's €8 billion more of cuts needed to be implemented, and you're committed to not increasing income tax because it'll destroy the economy, and you're also committed to protecting social protection insofar as you can. How do you then deal with, you're in government with the political arm of the public sector unions. How do you deal then with the Croke Park Agreement and the requirement to reform it?
The Croke Park Agreement is, as you know, is continuing on. It's absolutely imperative that it be implemented in full. The Minister for Public Expenditure and Reform, as he pointed out the other day, is currently reviewing 800 allowances in respect of which business cases have been made. But I don't accept the scale of cutback measures you're talking about here, because, as you well know, growth figures fluctuate depending on a whole range of criteria. But where we are focused is actually improving the growth potential and the economic development of our own indigenous economy. I brought 97 companies to China, and they signed deals of over 35 million. They see real potential for
exports. So you're hoping for a strong tailwind to reduce the need for austerity?
Yes, I mean, I spoke with Prime Minister Monti about this in Rome when I called on him there after coming back from Berlin. And I support the views that have been expressed by candidate Hollande in France. We have been making this case, Eddie, since last March, and I'm glad to see that every European Council meeting from now on will have a central theme on its agenda for growth and investment. In fact, I reported to the European heads of government myself on small and medium enterprises at the second last meeting, and we'll have a response from the Commission on that. I think it's at the May or the June meeting, because that's where the future lies.
Finally, Taoiseach, do you regard yourself as a lucky general? Because that seems to be the generally held view. You seem to be You seem to be riding great luck.
My only interest in all of this, my only interest is to work with the teams that we have, give them their responsibilities and see that they live up to it. Irish people, as you know, over the centuries have been nothing if not pragmatic. We recognise we've got a problem here. We're spending 16 billion more than we're taking in. That problem won't go away, and it won't be dealt with it unless we deal with it ourselves. And that's why the 31st of May, I'll be saying to people, look, you should vote yes for the future of your children and future confidence in our country, and send out that message that Ireland assumes a real leadership role as a small country in Europe, but is driving our European colleagues to live up to their own potential, because if their economies grow, it's good for us as an export.
You know that lots of people have inextricably linked the yes vote to some form of major progress on the promissory note restructure. Is that how you see it?
No. We've already made that very clear, Eddie, and as you know, the first element of that promissory note, we've made an arrangement that that's out to 2025. We do need flexibility, and we'll continue to negotiate on this on the other 27 billion that's in there. But I see a leaner, more efficient engine of our economy here. And rating agencies look at countries in many ways, but there are two things in particular. One is political stability. Its government is competitiveness, and of course, what engines have you got to drive your economy? We have 8 and 9 out of 10 of the top pharma companies, software companies, IT companies here in this country. We've got every opportunity to grow right across every sector, and my focus on government, lucky or not, is to drive our people, I hope we have the luck, is to get more and more young men and young women having the opportunity to live and work in their own country.
It's what Napoleon called for in his best commanders. Thank you very much, Taoiseach.
Well, Thomas Jefferson said one time, you know, for popularity, swim with the current, for principle, stand like a rock. My principle is get our country working, and I want people, I'm asking for their cooperation and their support in this matter on the 31st of May.
Thank you, Taoiseach.
Thank you, Eddie.